Roberts, and I'm audiobook narrating as Dawn Pinghart. I teach 5 creative writing classes online at Heritage University, including Superheroes, Epic Battles of Good and Evil, How to Write a Strong Hero. Like I said, I'm finishing my 18th book. I've got 35 short stories published. I wrote a rough draft of a screenplay for a movie. I have a collection of poems. At the heart of the heart and the core of the core, I'm a writer. And I want to talk today about a few things, and we're going to kind of speedball to get it through, but we're really going to talk about leveling up 3 times as much, really bringing the heart of who you are and making it into great stuff and making that great stuff greater stuff. So we're going to talk about triple your 2020, right? We're going to talk about triple your quality, triple your quantity, and triple your income, okay? And I've written 6 full-length 400-page novels in the last 2 years, okay? Wow. In this same series with a through backstory. So when I talk about getting it done, I'm going to show you how to do it, how to get it done, and how to get it done so that readers love you and they come back and they buy your entire back catalog of everything that you have ever written. Diana Gabaldon said, for writers, compliments are like crack. And I couldn't agree with her more, because when a reader writes to me, like when they say, you're my favorite reader ever now, I'm like, yes, yes, I love that. And I want to show you how to get your writers to fall in love with you and how to get you to fall in love with your own process. So we're going to triple your 2020, triple your quality, triple your quantity, and triple your income. And so first we're going to talk about tripling your quality. But before that, I want to just get to, there are 6 ways to become a better writer. Reading good books, reading about writing, being part of a writing group, taking a writing course, going to a writing conference, and writing. And I highly suggest that you do all of these, and that you do them frequently, and that you make this part of who you are. Now, obviously, going to a writing conference, taking a writing course, this is great. It's going to give you energy, it's going to give you juice, it's going to give you connections, it's going to help keep you going. But you learn to become a better writer by writing, okay? You don't learn to be a pilot by taking a passenger coach flight, right? And you don't learn to be a pilot just by reading about being a pilot. You learn by putting in your pilot's hours. You don't become a concert pianist by just going to the piano once. Writers really learn by writing, and I encourage you to do it all the time, as often as you can. All right, so our first section, we're going to talk to you about how to write a great story, how to write a bestseller, how to write a wonderful story, how to tell a really interesting narrative, whether it's in a short email, if you're writing personal stories, you're the hero of your own story. So there's a lot of things on how to write a good story, right? Pacing, conflict, setting where you build a whole world. I can do an entire series on this, and I probably will, so hit me up after, right? But today I want to talk about what's really, like, one of the #1 things about how to write a great story is how to write a great character, right? Character is queen. So now we will let go. If somebody has a grammar error and we notice it, we'll let that go. If somebody does something in the plot that's not believable and you're like, oh my God, right? And you want to throw like popcorn at the screen. You're like, I can't believe she's like running for her life, but she stops in the stairway to have a kiss. So unbelievable, right? We will still stay with that. We will stay with plot flaws. We will stay with grammar mistakes. We will stay with where the pacing slows down or speeds up a little bit. We'll even stay with them using words we don't know that they made up or that are too fancy for us to do it. But what we will not stay with is a character we don't love, okay? So think about the last book you read, that you wanted to do it rather than housework. Well, we always want to do it rather than housework, right? Then rather than talk to somebody, rather than anything. Why did you finish that book? Why did you stay with it? All right, so think about that. Think about that character. And I'm going to posit that you did that because you fell in love with the character. Now do the flip side. Think of the last book you read that you started it. And you're like, okay, this is a good start. You know, I'll give it a few pages. And then you just somehow didn't finish it, right? Did you go, well, I didn't finish it because her dangling participles really bothered me. No, right? You didn't go, oh, she uses too many conjunctions. It got boring. And it got boring because you were not sucked into the character. You weren't invested in the character. So like I said, I could talk about every aspect of how to write a great story, but then it would be like a 24-hour video lecture, and that would not be good. So we're going to focus on character. Character is queen, right? We remember characters that we relate to, and that we like, and that we feel really strongly about. So what does a writer need to do? Create a sympathetic protagonist, all right? Somebody you really are with. We're going to talk about this a lot. Create a sympathetic protagonist who has to overcome a series of increasingly seeming insurmountable obstacles at high stakes to attain a goal he greatly desires. All right, so put it another way, you got to push a likable character through harder and harder trials he must overcome in order to be victorious. All right, character. First and foremost is likability. I'm going to talk about this a lot. We have to love the character. We have to like them. You need, as a writer, to create reasons to like the character immediately. Page 1, you've got 1 page to get the reader sucked in. And you're going to be sucked in if you like the character. We want to hang out with people we like. We don't want to hang out with boring losers. We got real life for that, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, we don't want to hang out with somebody who like all day they're just complaining and they're talking. No, we want to hang out with people who are likable. And so your person has to be likable first and foremost. And they have to be relatable, right? So you want to bring rapport, similarity, and common ground. And you've got 1 page to do that, all right? So you need reasons to like them immediately. Now you're going to need continual reasons to like them throughout the book. Just like, you know when you meet somebody within 30 seconds, whether you like them or not, right? You probably know whether you want to see them naked or not, right? But you meet somebody and you like her right away, and you feel like, yeah, I like her, we've got a lot of things in common, I want to keep talking to her. Reasons to like them immediately. But you've got to keep doing that if you want them to be your friend, and that's what we're talking about. So we're going to go into that a lot. First of all, they need to have positive traits, multiple positive traits, including virtue. They have to show high moral standards to their own set of standards for being, right? All right, so you recognize this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some positive... Do not recognize him. Think of some of your characters and some of your favorites that you've written and that you've read. What are the positive traits? Just yell them out. What are some of the positive traits about characters you like that they have? That you like them? Why do you like them? Determination. Excellent. Somebody else.
They're bohemians.
They're bohemians, right?
Right.
Yeah. They're not your average boring person. What else? What are some positive traits about characters that make you like them? Confident. What else? Right? Maybe like Yoda. Maybe they're wise. Maybe they're patient. Maybe they're funny. Courageous.
I'm not sure exactly how to put this, but I just wrote this story about this girl. There's 2 sisters. They fought all the time. One of them gets kidnapped and sold into a sex slavery ring, and the older sister just goes and finds her.
That's right. Okay, so this is loyalty.
Bravery.
This is bravery, loyalty, determination, right? That's going to make us like the character immediately because we want to be a hero. Everybody wants to be a hero, and we don't get a chance in our real life to be a hero all the time. But your positive traits, whatever they are, and I would tell you, and I'm going to say this many times, look to yourself. What are your strongest points? What do you want to be your strongest strengths and integrities? And imbue that into your person. All right? A flaw. Nobody likes somebody who's perfect. Gosh, right? Nobody wants everybody to be great all the time. Your character needs to have positive traits. They also need to have a distinct flaw. Right? That's right. All right, so maybe they're too cocky. Maybe they're too stubborn sometimes. Maybe they worry about their own waistline and how thin their thighs are, and they have some insecurity. Maybe they're determined, but they don't really know the world around them. Whatever it is that's your flaw, and you should really have a physical outside flaw, and more importantly, an internal flaw. Right? Because we'll forgive people, especially in romance novels, we'll forgive them if they're a little too perfect looking. We're just like, but okay. Right, but we're not going to forgive them if they're not real. These are not characters, these are people. And they're real. And they should have your flaws.
Would self-deprecating be a flaw?
Yes, perfect. Exactly. All right, so All right, so this is House. This is House from House MD. I highly suggest if you have not seen House, go watch a few episodes of House.
You love him and hate him at the
You
same
love him
time.
and hate him.
You will love him and hate him.
You're never bored,
Yeah.
and you never don't care, right? The worst thing about a character is when your reader is apathetic, right? So you have to like them. You maybe love them but don't like them. Maybe you like them but don't love them.
Yeah.
Maybe you love to hate them,
Sometimes
but
he's a-hole.
feel something.
He's a-hole.
Right? So this is House from House MD, and he walks with a limp because he was one of his thigh arteries got blocked and he was playing golf, and now he can never walk the same. So his physical flaw, besides that expression,
Right. He always looked like that though. He always.
and then he walks with a limp. What other flaws? What are his internal flaws? People who know House. What's his internal flaws?
Stubborn.
He's rude. He's stubborn.
Oh yeah, he took it. I mean, she said
He knows it
rude,
all. He thinks he's the best doctor ever,
He
you know,
know it
on
all.
the planet. He's antisocial. He never smiles.
He's sarcastic.
He's sarcastic as hell.
Now wait a minute.
Yeah.
How is that?
I'm just saying, he's really in the wrong moments though.
But notice,
He's in the wrong
every
moments
single person
sarcastic.
here who has seen that show, they know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? And so here's the thing, is that he's authentic. He comes off as authentic because he has flaws. He's got good points and he's got bad points. Y'all know this, but I just want to hammer it home. Be clear on your person. What are their positive traits and what are their flaws? All right, this is really important. Unfair injury. Okay, this is the literary term, unfair injury. And it creates sympathy, empathy, and relatability. And this is really, really important because readers identify with a character through the emotions that he experiences. And you can't get past being 12 years old on this planet without somebody doing something to you that is totally unfair, unjust, shouldn't have happened, makes you feel like somebody just ripped your heart out and stomped on it. And I don't care if the unfair injury is you got fired when you shouldn't have gotten fired, your sister told a secret she shouldn't have told, your boyfriend stepped on your toe and smudged it when you're on the way to Grammys, or your parents died in a horrible car accident. But whatever it is, the unfair injury for your character, if you want people to love your character and relate to your character, this is the quickest way to do it. Be clear on what their unfair injury is, okay? Then you're gonna put them in big trouble. Yay! All right, the unfair injury, we sympathize because of it. Wait, so what, this is Harry Potter. What's his unfair injury? What happened to him?
His parents died.
Right, his parents died, and he got the scar on his forehead, right? So he should not be known, killed his parents, left him a little orphan baby with a scar on his forehead, and then he had to go live with the Muggles who didn't understand him and kept him under, this is perfect unfair injury right here, they kept him under the stairs, right? We identify, right, Batman, what's his unfair injury?
His parents were murdered.
His parents were killed too, right? His parents were murdered in the back alley after a Broadway show. Spider-Man, what's his unfair injury?
He's also an orphan.
Exactly, right? He's an orphan. He goes to live with his Aunt Sarah and Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben gets murdered by the thief who he let get away. Right? Ouch!
Oh, they showed us the thief he let get away.
Yeah, so it's not bad enough that he's an orphan, then he goes to live with his aunt and uncle, and his uncle gets murdered.
He the reason why he did.
But we ache when they ache. We feel when they feel. So you don't have to be an orphan whose husband or wife or uncle got murdered in order to get why we feel when they feel. Okay? And then they have to come up out of that. Right? They're going to have to come up. So your character has to have a motivation. They have to have a compelling reason. They have to have a willing to step up, and they have to accept the call to action. So if your character has tremendous unfair injury, and then he sits on the couch for the rest of his life binging on Netflix and eating bonbons and Doritos, you have no story.
Well, I mean, Game of Thrones did that, but anyway.
Yeah. But so you have to know what your character's motivation is, and their unfair injury is going to help drive how they act and what their emotional shields are and what their motivations are. But you want to be really clear. The stronger, right? The bigger the unfair injury, the stronger stronger the motivation, the harder it is for them to step up, but they still step up anyway. And the more they accept, it's called the call to action, that first thing, right, that's going to spark them on their quest, the more you're going to be able to push them through problem after problem. And that makes them a full, you know what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or a New York Times bestseller, or both, right? You gotta do that. All right, so character. A character has a great supporting cast. All right, so who does Harry Potter have?
Hermione and Ron.
Right, exactly. And so you need a great supporting cast because each one of them are characters that you have a chance to be relatable to and fall in love with and like. But you also need a great supporting cast because we love people who love their friends. We love people who are loyal to their friends. And we love people who show that they have great friends, right? Our friends are not always great. And sometimes they deserve our loyalty and sometimes they don't. We're loyal to them because we're writers, because we're awesome. But you got to remember that your person, right, you're going to give him good traits, bad traits, emotions, friends, a place, right? The character has to have a piece of you. It's going to have your strengths, your heartaches, your experiences, and your best and worst traits. If you want your character to come to life, your character has to be authentic. And the way to make them authentic is to give them a piece of what's really you. So I don't care if you're a white 60-year-old, middle-aged, book-loving woman who lives in New York City and has never been out of the city, writing about a black gay rancher who's 17 years old in Montana. And I don't care if you're whatever, and you're writing about aliens or whatever it is. You need to give them a piece of you. And that's going to mean your emotional stuff. Okay? So this is where you have to get a little thicker skin, right? Because if you give your 17-year-old gay Montana cowboy some of who you really are, and reviewers don't like that story, you know, it can hurt or it can not hurt, but you still have to do it because that's what's going to make them authentic, all right? If your dragon alien, right, has a sense of humor, that's going to help. You give them what you have, the best and the worst of it.
I will say though, the books that I've edited, if you're a woman writing from a man's point of view, do some research. Like, cause the characters sound like women, and it's like, no, dudes don't talk like this. Like, you gotta rewrite this whole dialogue, you know? So.
Exactly. And so I want to say that if you're a beginner, if you're really, really a beginner, I would stick with your same gender, your same kind of urban location, your same things, and even if you're in sci-fi, kind of keep it to that same thing until you've had some practice. After you've got a few books under your belt, I happen to write a lot from a male POV, a first person, you know, whatever. And if you're a woman writing as a man or a man writing as a woman, you know, definitely get in there, but then, you know, dude it up if you need to do it, but read it out loud.
Yes.
Read it out loud to see if it sounds right, and if you're a woman writing as a man, have men read it,
Yes.
and have men say whether they would actually say this or not. You know, I wrote, oh, this, you know, struck me as a little creepy, it gave me the creeps, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't know, my big bad husband dude would not be like, oh, that gave me the creeps. You know, every single word choice, right, every single word choice is there because you left it there and you put it there. So write, you know, get it out. You know, if it comes out sounding too feminine, it's all right, just keep going. Keep going.
That's what editors are here for.
That's what editors are for. You don't have to be a great writer, you have to be a great rewriter. The art is in the rewriting. But the more you put this formula of strengths, unfair injury, flaws, likability, the more you put this stuff right up front in your first draft, the less rewriting you'll have to do. And authenticity is really important. So keeping your emotions is the central piece, and then keeping it true to the world is the next. Excellent. All right, so this is one of my books from a few years ago, Marcy's Playground, and I gave y'all a sample of that, but I'm going to read the first page to you because I want to show you just how I just kind of sprinkled in some of these things right in page 1. I hugged the box I was carrying to my chest. It contained a small plant, a framed picture of the Dallas Cowboys with signatures, thank you, a toiletry case, and 2 books. Fired after 1 week as a secretary for A&M. I stood in the blinding hot Indiana sun and bit back tears. This sucked. My first real job, my plans to save for college, ruined. I had the urge to dig a hole in the pavement and stick my head in it, ground and butt in the air. But instead, I forced my shoulders back. I wrenched open the door of my beat-up Honda and put the box on the passenger seat. All right, now, we could have picked any one of my books or short stories, and you would have seen lots of reasons to like the character immediately, and lots of things to suck you in. And this is a very, simple, straightforward kind of writing. But the reason I picked Merson's Playground as an example for this is I very, very consciously thought, okay, what can I do where readers will like that, or relate to that, or somehow bond to that, and I consciously put it there, as opposed to what the muse gives me that I just take down dictation. All right, so why do we like her? What are some reasons that their likability?
She lost her job.
Yeah, she lost her job, right? Unfair injury and likability. Everybody relates to being laid off.
Yeah.
She's embarrassed, sounds like I just want to put my head in a hole,
Exactly. We all relate to wanting to hide a little bit. What else?
She's plucky. She doesn't just give up.
Exactly. So she takes a minute to whine, but then she puts her shoulders back and she's plucky and she's consistent, right? I put the Dallas Cowboy things in there, right? Specifically with the signatures.
Yep.
I put in a Honda to be specific. I put in the human ostrich thing for funny. I put in this for, so there's just, it's right here, just in a few paragraphs, you kind of see it putting it into action. All right, so I want to say your character has to have personality. And you are your number one resource, right? The best parts of your personality, you're going to imbue that. And the parts of your personality, like y'all don't know this, but I happen to be very funny. But so I take that funny and I exacerbate it and I exaggerate it and I make it bigger. I make their funny lines funnier. Whatever are the greatest things about your personality. If you're a great mom, if you love race car driving and you really want to be a race car driver, whatever it is about your personality that makes you most you, that's the thing that's going to make your character most lovable and most irresistible. All right, so personality, be very clear on their physical traits, their fears, their secrets, their desires, their conflict, their goals, their opposition, right? Ability to surprise, room to grow. Again, we talked about emotions being really important, behaviors, their role, their backstory, right? Because you're going to start in the middle of the action, right? So whatever point you pick to start at, you're going to start by throwing them into unfair injury, big trouble, current situation, reasons they have to step up. But they're real people, so they have a history, right? We call that a backstory, and you're going to release that piece by piece, and that's where you're going to release more reasons to like them, more about the unfair injury, more about their emotional shield and how they deal with it, and more things to keep them sucked in, and you're going to be clear on their quirks. Okay? So you want the character to be lovable. Humor is really important. Even if you're writing a very, very dark story, and your character is very traumatized, and it's a very dark and awful thing, you still want to add some humor, okay? And so one way to add humor is you have them look at things from a new perspective, and another way to do that is you have them exaggerate things that already are. So, my current series, Rock Hard Court Brothers, this is the cover for Rock Hard Book 1, which is a Literary Titans winner. Ryder, the main character, has horrible, terrible, Spider-Man level things that happen to him as his unfair injury. And they're kind of secret. We know he's traumatized, we know he has PTSD, and they begin to be revealed one by one until we have a big reveal. And how he deals with that is humor. So we're lightening up the fact that we've got a really heavy, emotional, come to be better person, step up story, and we're lightening up with humor. So he has a point where he meets his love interest, and he's with his love interest, and they finally, she begins to get undressed, and she's all nervous, and she's bought this new lingerie, and she's, I bought these for you, and he says, your breasts? Thank you, I love them. Because we're lightening it up to keep things going. People love people who have a good sense of humor and who are humorous. That makes them seem more attractive. So the more you can add that into your character, the more people will love them, and the more they'll come back to buy your books. Your character's got to be victorious, right? You want them to face impossible odds, and and become stronger and stronger. All right, so who's this at the bottom?
The Matrix.
Right, that's the Matrix, right? Whether they're defeating aliens or whether they're, battling a big rolling ball and snakes, we want to put our character into some place where it seems like there's no way they can get out, and then still give them a knockout victory. Because that's kind of what we all want. We all have parts in our life where we're like, how do I transcend this? And we are wired for story. We're wired for story. So we read to escape, but we read to get our emotions percolated and pulled at until we learn. So it's really important that they have losses, because we all have losses, and that the losses are big losses, but they also manage to become victorious, because we love characters who are victorious. Okay, the character, how both the reader and writer should feel. This is important. You want to be with them, romantically or platonically. So if you think about your favorite character in a story, you're going to put yourself in the story with them. You want to be with them, right? You want to help them. You want to put yourself in front of the guys in the Black Dagger Brotherhood and be like, don't do that to me. I love you. Don't do it, right? You want to put yourself in front of them to help them, and you want to be them, right? You want to be them. That's how you know you have an irresistible character, right? So you have to, as a writer, you have to become them. They're not going to live unless you give them your lifeline. You're going to spend more time with your characters than your husband, your therapist, your dog, or your boss, right? So you want to make sure that there's somebody who has the best of you and that you really love them. And if you want to be them, your readers will want to be them. And they'll come back for more and more and more. And you know that it's working when your writers and your fans say, I loved Marcy's Playground, when is the next one coming out? And you say, thank you, there is no next one. But I need a Marcy's Playground, I need to know it, right? I need to know what happened to. That's how you know you got it. Because when they write you and they say, I'm an 80-year-old man in Indiana, but I really felt like I was Marcy, that's when you know you've got it. You universally have to make them irresistible. And you do that by believing that part of you is so unique, so wonderful, so amazing, that it would never come out unless these people who are your people have a piece of you letting that out. You have a job. It is your service. It is your obligation. If you do not do this, the muse will give a similar idea to 100 people. Right? She will wait until she finds somebody whose butt is going to sit in the chair and actually do it. But it will never be the same as if it comes through you. So your magic, what is the best part about you? That's got to come through because you want them to want to be with them, to want to help them, and to want to be them. All right, so this is all about how to create a great character, because when you do a great character, you have a better product. When you have a better product, more people buy your stuff, and they tell other people about it. They're like, oh my God, you won't believe what writer did to Lexi. I can't wait till what he does next. You get your people talking to other people about your people. All right, so this is what we've gone over so far for an irresistible character. I'm just going to speedball read it for you. Lovable, relatable, unfair, injury, flawed, motivated, willing to step up, authentic, consistent, complex, has a personality, has something to be afraid of, has secrets, desires, strong emotions, internal conflict, external conflict, goals, physical, emotional opposition, growth, a voice, they're virtuous, ability to surprise, a role, a background, backstory, behaviors, quirks, they're true to themselves, they care for each other, and humor. And they have you because you're real. The stronger you make any one of these things, right? The stronger the opposition, the more heart-wrenching the emotion, the more difficult their internal conflict or external conflict. The more you strengthen any one of these, the more you strengthen the person. And every single thing that happens to you in your life, no matter how good or bad it is, you say, thank you, God, because that will end up in print. All right, so that's kind of that section with ideas. We're just going to go a little more on that, and then we're going to go to a separate section. So I've got this talk separated into 3 sections. Quality, right? How to make a good character, how to make a quality product. Actually do it, right? How to get your actual production better, right? How to improve your quantity, and then how to do your income go up. So I want you to remember about your character, everybody has an agenda, right? Every single character in your story has to want something. right? So if they seem like they're having a minute where they're boring, be clear about what they want and make them want it even more. We root for the character who has a strong motivation. So one more. Remember that the villain is the hero of his own story. Okay? The stronger the opposition, the more you're pushing your character through trouble. And the harder the trouble, the bigger the villain, the better it is. Okay, emotions are our lifeblood. The character must display strong feelings or everything else falls flat. It's how he feels when he deals with the stakes that gets us feeling how we feel, right? So in order for readers to feel, the characters have to feel. In order for the characters to feel, you have to feel. Okay? You know that. Conflict, bring it on, right? The more conflict you get, the better. The worse you can make it, you know, if somebody's going to get dumped, how can I make that conflict bigger? How can I make it worse? How can he be dumped in public, in front of his family and his boss, and you know the street
On his birthday.
On his birthday, when he's got when he's got an engagement ring in his pocket. How can you, whatever the conflict is, right? That's right. You know, so whatever the conflict is, see what you can add to make it even stronger, because we want to root for them against impossible odds. Right? So you take your character, and if you love your character, torture them. If you love them, throw them in a cement mixer, turn it on, add stone for grinding, then take another truck and push it into the cement mixer and throw the cement mixer over. If you love your characters, you will give them the worst possible thing that could ever happen, and then make that worse.
Faulkner said that you have to kill your children.
Right? Kill your darlings.
Kill your darlings, yeah.
All right, so if you've done all those things and that doesn't work, add a dog. We all love people. We all love people who love dogs. See, there's our card book one there. There's our little lamb chop. He's going to be our new book reviewer. So people love people who love their pets. If you've done all that stuff and you still want to make them more lovable, add a dog. Know your characters.
And then kill the dog off.
All right, so that's that section about character and how to make a good product. Again, we'll talk about more other things later when you can come reach me. But I'm going to move on to the next section about actually doing it, like getting it done. And then we can have some questions afterwards. All right, kick butt, just do it. Just do it. We will tend to say, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to write the right words. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. You're going to learn by doing it. The more you question yourself, all you're doing is making it more difficult for yourself to do it. Just sit down and just do it. So the first thing you need to do is block it into your schedule. Right? If you put on your list, your to-do list, on my list today is write on Rock Hard Book 6. Hopefully you'll get done if it's on your to-do list. But if it's on your to-do list and it's in your schedule, it will get done. So block it in. Block it in the same way you would block in a meeting with your doctor. Right? Isabel Allende said, of course you can interrupt me during my writing time if the house is on fire. Right? And she had 3 kids and she worked through that. So writing time, editing, I got it in green because it's all about money. Block it in. Okay? This is the number one most important thing you can do to get writing done. Okay? I got 2,225 pages done in the last year and a half to 2 years. Okay? So that's not words, that's pages. Completed novels done. 2,000 pages in a year and a half. And this is how I did it. I timed in and I timed out. Like you punch a clock for your, factory job. Because this tells your brain, all right, I'm serious, we're gonna get to work now. And you can see day after day how many days you've actually done it. So this is, right from mine. I put the time in, I put the time out, I put the math on how much time that was, because I'm not so good on that, what page it was, what page out, and pages completed. And I highly suggest that you get an accountability partner and that you send them your log of how much you've written or not written. Because I can tell you, you want to double your productivity? Send your partner a log that says, oh, didn't write today, didn't write today, didn't write today, it was on my list, but I didn't get it done. And you will move this up in your priorities. Nothing is more important than actually writing. Nothing. Because your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health depend on it. And not that I care so much about that, but the world depends upon you getting that out there. Right? So this is your job. This shows the difference between committed and just interested. If you're just interested, you're in the wrong lecture, because I'm about getting it done. Now, do I do it every day? No. Do I say I'll do it every day? Yes. Okay? But if I see that I haven't done it 2 or 3 days in a row, I can make up for that and put in 3 or 4 hours, at a time. I want you to, and I type pretty fast, and I highly suggest that you type fast, you get type to text, but it takes me one 15-minute block for 1 page. So if you do 15 minutes a day, just 15 minutes a day, pretty much every day, at the end of the year, you're going to have 350 pages of rough draft. Right? So that means I do 4 pages, double-spaced, 4 pages in an hour. Right? If you do 1 hour a day, in 100 days, you've got 400 pages written. All right? Now, I don't know how many people in this room can say I got 400 pages done in the last year or in the last 2 years. But I bet you I'm the only one who can say I got 400 pages done in the last 100 days. And this is why. This is it. Keep a log, get an accountability partner, send it to your accountability partner, the end. Yeah.
And I assume you don't worry about how crappy it is.
I don't worry about how crappy it is.
Just write it down.
I worry about keep it going.
That was gonna be my question too.
No, I do not worry about how crappy it is. And I used to, I wouldn't send it to an editor or a beta reader or anybody let it look at it until I had completed the whole novel. And now I finish writing, and when I finish that sentence or that middle of the sentence for the end of the day, I chunk the whole thing and I send it off to my beta reader without even rereading it once.
Wow.
And he knows it's going to be, there's going to be typos. Oh, I cannot tell you how many times I put T-O instead of T-O-O. Right? But his point is, he writes me back every day and says, where's the next installment? What happens to Jenna and Venom? I have to know what happens to Venom, right? Because everything else can be fixed.
So he's just following, for that, his purposes and yours at that time, he's just following your story.
He's just following the story. And his excitement, his need to get it every day, helps keep me in the log and keep me going and keep me doing it. So writers, we write in a vacuum, right? Nobody dresses us up and brings us to the computer and plays little happy music when we get there. We don't have a limo bringing us to the Grammys. We don't have any of that. We're very, very self-engined, self-generated, internal, alone. I tell people all my best friends are imaginary. Right? I spend more time home alone at the computer, than most people spend getting a PhD. But you have to connect with other people some way, somehow. And what is observed will get done more. It's like when you go to the gym, if you have a buddy who's waiting for you at the gym, you'll get it done. Personal trainers, we're not paying them because they know how to do a bicep curl better than we know how to do a bicep curl. Bicep curls have been the same for 4,000 years. We're paying them because they're going to stand there and go, 12 more, right? They watch us. You need somebody to observe you getting this done because it's a long road, right? Unless you're writing flash fiction, short poetry of like 200 words. This is a long road, and you're very brave. And you need an audience to go, right? This is it. This is the #1 secret to tripling your productivity. And if I could say it any more strongly, I would. All right, so get it done. Block it in, put it in your writing log, get an accountability partner. For those of you who haven't seen a log line before, it looks like this. Protagonist, verb, obstacles, risk, goal. Or put another way, hero, battle, antagonist, stake, and goal. Right? So you want to be very clear about what your log line is.
What do you mean by log line?
It's like what we talked about last time. It's an elevator pitch, pretty much.
Yes. So your log line is your elevator pitch. It's what you would say to an agent if you were stuck in an elevator and you only had one sentence to tell them about what it is going on, right? A drummer who has to battle his own PTSD against all odds, when he's trying to fall in love, those kind of things. And to be very clear on that, because when you're clear on your log line, it's going to help you do your writing time every day. And I want you to remember that this is writing. This is typing. Do you have a question?
No, I just wanted to, for the log line, there was, I was reading The Query Shark, Janet Reed. She always says compare it to Harry Potter. Harry Potter has to battle Voldemort.
He who shall not be, right?
Yeah.
In order to get the Phoenix,
Yes.
in order to reunite
Yeah.
and go to the next, So see if you can put your story in this, it's gonna help you. All right, so we're getting there. We're gonna get right to right doing it in a minute. So the right pieces right now, remember, you've gotta be clear on your person, and notice I don't call them your character, right? You've gotta be clear on your person, your setting, your risk, your problem, your plan of action, and your goal. You do not need to have the details of any of this all fleshed out before you write. Because as you show up, the muse will show up for you. Okay? If you're driving from New York to California at night, you've got your headlights on, you only need to see a little bit at a time to do it. But you've got to know if you're going from New York to California or you're going to New York to Mexico. Right? So be clear on this. All right. So, writers write by doing it, and we're going to stop right there. We're going to do a writing exercise right now. So, this half of the room on these tables, we're going to do a 6-minute writing exercise, and the only thing is you keep going for 6 minutes, you keep your pen writing the entire time, even if it's I don't know what to write. You don't go back, you don't cross anything out, you don't look back. This half of the room, this is your column. You've got a cop, a burning house, and a secret arsonist. Right, you're going to put in right away good things, bad things, reason to like them, conflict, as much as you can. You want to make it, for this exercise, as exaggerated as possible, as dramatic as possible. This half of the room,
Oh, shit.
ta-da!
Really?
Yes, really. You get an alien disguised as a human, an invitation, and a mad scientist. And no, you can't change just because you feel like it.